And we're in. Hey chaps, how's it going? Let me start to build up a few references, because as we have our reference picture up for today, we can do exactly that. Right, I'm just going to share this stream before I do anything else. Streaming. Right, let's get some references into this already. We're going to do Druid. Oops. It'll disappear. Not working now? Oh. How's that working? I'll just add a picture on there. Man, I just had it working. Why isn't it working now? Okay. Why they cancelled? Okay, right, we've got references now. Nice. Right, Control Shift. Hey, I'm gonna mess it up. Nice. Okay, cool. Hey Trondix, hey Sadan, how are you guys doing? Very good, thanks. And a very good Easter. Very chill, and with lots of kids, so it was good fun. What did you guys get up to? As you can see, today we are drawing frog druid, or witch. I'm not sure what really to call them. In other words, a salamander, or a newt, I guess. English newt. British newt. We have a few references here for us to look at today. Should be a cool little addition to the stream. Have this in here. What did you guys think of the frog drawing? I was quite happy with that. They're doing this like kind of character series thing. I think it'd be cool to have like a bunch of these different characters with like a lot more details. Like I put a lot of effort into his like weapons, like the bounty hunter guy, but yeah. So I want to do the same kind of level of detail for all of the other characters as well. So we're doing like a kind of bounty hunter. This one is kind of like a frog who is like a insect catcher. So he goes out into the swamp at night, and he's got a big blunderbuss rifle, and he finds insects essentially to capture. And then we're also doing the little druid guy. I also have some other cool images coming up, some cool videos that I'm kind of excited about. Quite a few of them actually. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah. If I can get, I can't really see your guys' chat. How do I see YouTube chat? Working. If I do multi-chat, no. Hey Fallen, how's it going, mate? Sorry guys, I'm trying to, I can't really see chat very well, so I'm going to see if I can bring it up a bit more clearly. Docs. Chat. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. I can see you guys now. That's much better. Doing fine, pretty exhausted, but fortunately I get vacation at the end of the week. Oh, yeah. Nice. What are you going to do for your vacation, Throndix? Hey, Fallen, thanks for joining us. How's child rearing going? Very well. Yeah, good thanks, mate. I say it's easier when you're hanging out with people who have kids the same age. So, that made things a lot more chill for the Easter weekend. And I must say, I always find holidays like that are very fun with kids, because it's like fine to do Easter with like a bunch of adults. It's like the same with like Christmas. I always think it's more fun with like a bunch of kids who are obviously going to enjoy it a lot more. And well, they were very hyped up on chocolate. So yeah, very good, very good. Hey Joe, thanks for jumping in. Good to have you here. Blunderbuss made one of those on a tank based on a real design. That's awesome. Is it like a short-range tank or something? Fallen, how are you doing? I made some drawings uploaded to the server. I haven't seen them yet. Let me have a look. Yeah, cool. The Eshu. The kind of eyes as well. Nice. I'll mostly rest a bit, study for the dreaded upcoming exams, and I'll spend a few days in Spain with my family. Nice. Okay, right. I'm gonna go on Pinterest, get myself a few references. I'm gonna crack on with this kind of like shaman dude. So like Celtic druid. So we want this guy to kind of, so we're doing like a newt who's considered a bit of a druid in the like frog culture. So the lore behind them is they were hunted to almost extinction by the herons when the great tyrant was kind of controlling the swamps. And when they kind of defeated them, the frogs asked them to come back, but the newts and the kind of salamanders just kind of disappeared. So they just appear randomly, and the frogs kind of revere them. They see them as like, they see them as a like Lord, oh, my brain's not working. They see them as kind of mystical, as like seeing the future and that kind of stuff. So they really revere them. But actually, the newts just kind of understand Pretech a little bit more than them, so they can kind of control Pretech. So each of the newts has a bit of Pretech with them, and they're smart. They're kind of manipulating the frogs and the toads a little bit. But yeah, they kind of do their own thing in the swamp. But because they kind of wander off on their own, they have to kind of be camouflaged the whole time. Another reason why the frogs kind of revere them is because they have tails, which almost none of the creatures in the acceleration have. They kind of like have half evolved, so they're a bit different to all of the other creatures. So we're gonna do this guy with a bit of tail. In fact, where's my reference? A big fat new tail. A lot of this is gonna be hidden under his cape, but I'll get the shape right, and then we'll figure out the rest after. So yeah, these guys have kind of like half evolved. So they're a bit different. They're kind of like weird folk, really, because weird folk are not just like weird creatures. They're also creatures that haven't evolved in such a like bipedal way as everything else. So we're going to see some bit of a different side to the creatures of the swamp. One is on my Twitch page and the other is the art channel. I didn't see the art channel one. Little sneaky dude. I like that fallen. Hey Laura, thanks for jumping in, mate. Just drawing a slimy newt. The Druid Natter. Yeah, they're all a bit insane. It's one thing I want to do with the frogs is kind of show their... Like, with mammals and stuff, I thought because the acceleration happened to them, it was like kind of logical. Like, most mammals have a lot of fae. Because, you know... Like, well, there's like different theories as to obviously why the acceleration happened, but... their brains were kind of capable of this, like, increased evolution. There's like increasing like brain capacity and power, whereas a lot of the amphibians, their brains were not, and so actually the transition was quite difficult for them. So a lot of the frogs are actually not very sane. They're kind of a bit unhinged. But when they talk, I kind of mention it in the lore video where they're in the swamps, and he's talking to them, and as he's walking with them, he listens to their kind of frog speech talk, and they're all kind of like mumbling and telling stories and then cheering every now and again. So they're all just a bit not quite right in the head. So for no reason at all, the salamanders are going to be a bit more logically sound, just because it kind of fits with their profile. I'm going to do with them as like, yeah, these kind of like druidic figures. That's pretty much all. So they're endangered, yeah, exactly right. And if they have tails, does that make them weird folk? Exactly. Good call, Fallen. Yeah, so that's exactly it. They're essentially weird folk because they've like kind of half evolved. Not really. I'm swell. Been doodling a lot today. Good. Yeah, you've been pumping out the stuff. It's a bit chunky. He's not going to be so nudie. He's going to have a cloak on. I just need to get some references for the cloak. Like this one. I'm just looking at some like druid pictures on Pinterest. Give me some inspiration. for any more. Okay, that'll do. You don't actually want this one. Get out of here. Maybe one more. Any of you guys working on any projects at the moment? Anything cool? Might give this guy like a bit of a crescent dagger, because that seems to be like a common theme amongst a lot of these druids. Right, that'll do. Right, I think we got enough references there. We've got some cool stuff. Right, let's jump into it. So we want to give him a cloak. But like I said, we want him to be camouflaged. So I'm thinking something like this. Where it's kind of like goes over his whole body. But then, like this kind of tartan patterning. And it's going to be yellow, a bit like the colour of like the reeds that you'd find in the swamp. And he's going to have some kind of just like tied to his back and stuff. He's kind of piling up. I'm trying to force myself to improve my drawing skills as much as possible every time I do a video. So I'm kind of like practicing. So with like the recent stuff, I've been trying to do a bit more like what should I call it? A bit more like cloth, essentially. Because I feel like I really struggle with cloth, so I need to kind of improve on that a bit more. Kind of coming up, so we can still see his tail. Over his head. Right, won't make it go over his head. Oh. Up to his head, and then you'll have some like reeds or something on his head. Like I said, we're going to give him a bunch of like equipment and stuff, like in the other video. I've made small progress on my project. I've been very busy with school, so not as much as I wanted. Oh, fair enough. Good to work on it when you've got the chance. Working on an anthology. Very good. Smokey the Tank Duckweed. Was good for inspiration. So one thing I wanted him to have, which I thought was like would be a quite cool idea, was this like staff that he's carrying looks like a reed. It's made of wood, but it's got like a reed bulb thing at the top. So when he's like kind of wandering through the swamp, he can kind of stay disguised. Start to colour him a little bit. There was our newt friend. course, he's going to be completely nudie under the under his cloak, nudie newt. I did write about a she who shall not be named type character, though. I like characters like that. I'm a big fan of Voldemort as a character. Well, actually, no. I would say I kind of like Voldemort as a character, but at the same time, he's a bit more like, I mean, he's a bit like, I'm evil because I'm evil type of thing. But I think he's the whole thing of like people who don't want to even say his name. I like that idea. I apologise if I'm going to be coughing this whole stream. I'm not super sick, that you just have a cough, which is very frustrating. Sounds a bit more interesting. We're working on the Esho entry, Biology Society Origins, which I already uploaded yesterday, but no one saw it yet. And well, that drawing that you've seen already. Aside from that, I haven't been working on much stuff. That sounds like a lot of stuff. I've been talking about working on their world, and I'm just making cookies. Cookies are always good. Exactly, Laura. Damn, that salamander looks old. He old as hell. We'll do a bit more details on his face. At least we'll have something to work with. Oops. I could have just drawn that again, but that's fine. I've decided I'm going to start trying to, like I said, I'm going to do more details in my drawings, but I'm also going to embrace the messy a bit more. I really like my messy drawings, and they're kind of a lot more fun to draw. And I feel like my kind of style doesn't really work with like just straight up line drawing. So I'm going to try and do something like in between, where it's like, yeah, so it's a bit more detailed, a bit more like visual information in each image, but then not straying too far from my messy origins. So I think I enjoy drawings like that a bit more. So you reminded me, I must remind my sister she owes me battery cookies. Always collect on cookie debt. A cattail? The inedible hot dogs. Is that what it's called? Cattail reads. Yes, exactly that. That's exactly what I was looking for. Let's take a picture of that. Add that to our references. Hot dog. So yeah, I want his staff to look a bit like this. So it's like he's like walking through the swamp. Kind of looks. At first glance, it looks like there's just some reeds passing by. Hot dog. Me waiting patiently for the salamander dragon, because it would be dope. Unsixth the bard. I would much appreciate being unsixth. That would be very nice. It's not too bad. It's one of those things where, you know, it just feels kind of endless. Right, he's not going to be nudie anymore, so I don't mind looking at nudie salamander. I think we need to do his hood a bit better. Sit a bit heavier on his head. Such a mess. We would embrace the messy, but not too much. I'm evil because I'm evil. Villains are honestly harder to write, despite making up most real-world evil people. I get that. Yeah, I know what you mean. But you know, I think it's George R. R. Martin who just said, you know, from an evil person's perspective, they're not being evil, right? You know, if you look at like billionaires in society, they're just accumulating wealth. And I think a lot of them are not like, okay, you know, haha, let's do some evil today. It's more like, okay, I'm going to make more money, I'm going to be more successful, I'm going to be more powerful. I need to like advance my position in society, and then it's like better for me. So it's like, it's more selfish than evil, but it ends up being evil. That makes sense. So I'd imagine that's like, writing characters like that, I think, I don't know, I just feel like it's not super interesting. It's like if they were better written, they'd be like, okay, but it's like, why? So I feel like with Voldemort, he kind of, oh, he's like an evil orphan. I haven't read the books in years. I've only seen the films like a few times in the last few years. But it's like, okay, I'm an evil orphan. I'm a super evil dude. I'm gonna go to this school, and I'm a super powerful wizard, but I'm also like kind of evil. And you don't really see much beyond that. If anyone's a Harry Potter nerd here, just correct me, because I know a bit of my Harry Potter, but not much. Drinks a sick, cures all of sickness. Ugh. Also, the sneaky guy peeking from that drawing on the art channel is an Eshu child, definitely more cute than the adults. Yeah, very cute. But it's hard to find any truly evil people, as human beings are complex beings. Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's exactly it. It's like people are evil because they do something and it ends up being evil. Oh guys, I didn't say long, but I shall leave and have fun. Take care. See you later, Thwandix. Hope you enjoy your holiday, mate. You can actually use the pollen from cattails as a substitute for flour. No way. I'm a scooter, I got dins, but I made it back now. Okay, thanks for stopping by, mate. God. So it's like the cattails are like edible? The pollen's edible? might do actually might do it so it's the cloak comes over his arm. Do you know what we are going to do is we're going to give him a little I want to do druids eventually for the Fae of Caledonia. I kind of want the frogs to have their own druids, so if this guy's gonna have like a kind of like a druid halo type thing, what they called a wreath, but maybe made from something swampy. So maybe they kind of like separated. They're like originally they were like a sect of the druids. Oops, sorry, banged the microphone there. Maybe they were a sect of the druids that kind of broke off, you know, because of what happened in the swamps. Give him a sickle. We'll attach this a bit more safely, but that'll do for now. Give him a few bits and bobs. Scepter. It's a little knife as well, of course. Because even like the deer fae have even the deer fae have druids as well. I think Voldemort wanted to live forever or something like that, which led him down the path of evil magic, which basically made him more and more evil. I don't know about the rest of the plan. All I know is the pollen, because I have seen people make cattail pancakes, stuff like that. Interesting. There's this thing that happened recently where this YouTuber that paid a guy to give him a tour around the most dangerous places of Brazil. The guy accepted with the condition that nothing would be recorded. YouTuber agreed, so the guy gave him a tour with his wife and child, but the YouTuber guy started recording everything without them knowing. When the guy found out, he told the YouTuber not to. Oh dear. How would a hand look holding that? Look at my own hand here. Whoops, why am I doing it in this one? Upload the video, or his wife and his daughter would be in danger because of the local gangs. YouTuber decided to upload anyway. Oh dear. Found out the family. Oh, and the YouTuber doesn't. Oh my gosh. Rubbish at drawing hands. Let me find a better picture of a hand. So, I don't know if that's an example of evil. Is that what you're saying? Hold on. Obviously, the gangs are terrible people. I see what you mean. Yeah, I guess that is pretty evil. Not very funny, but evil, yeah. Holding scepter. Holding staff. Some stock photos of holding a staff. They're backwards. Hi Christian, thanks for joining us, mate. We're just drawing an old newt druid. YouTuber made a video defending himself, saying that it was the guide's fault for accepting to guide him. I think some people just don't take any responsibility, do they? A small picture of Gandalf. I was trying to find a picture of someone holding a staff. All the pictures are backwards. Gandalf staff. That's my example of your, yeah. I know what you mean. I feel like there's like with the YouTuber, oops, with that YouTuber example, I feel like that's just a dude who's perhaps an asshole and doesn't take responsibility. I feel like there's a lot of those people in the world, unfortunately. Right, we'll come back to the hand because I can't really find any good like hand references for holding a staff. Let's go on the other side, maybe. Excuse me. Oh, that's quite a good one. Okay. How do I... there's a way to... oops. I remember how to flip it. How to flip. Pick in puref. Shift. There we go. Nice. I think salamanders only have 4 fingers. But that's fine. This guy is 5. Make his wrist a bit thicker. Drop this bit. I like this guy. He's looking pretty cool. Oops. And new to drawing. How was your... what you been drawing, Christian? You drawing anything for like a project or... Right, I've been avoiding drawing this tartan, but we're going to have to do it eventually, so let's crack on with it. What we could do is we could start off by just doing the actual pattern. And then just bending it. Maybe no, let's just not be a coward. If we just turn down all this noise. There we go. Tartan patterns are kind of difficult to draw because they have like overlapping cross sections. Doesn't look bad. And if we colour it, we'll change the colour to like a green. Oops. We'll check. So we want it to be like kind of swampy. So if we do it's going to be very dirty. What do salamander fae eat in your setting? They eat bugs, fish, most things. I think salamanders. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think salamanders are omnivores. IRL. So I think maybe omnivores in this setting as well. Christian, nothing yet. Okay. What would you like to draw, Christian? You think? This crazy looking dude. Orangey eyes. We'll do skin as well. What's through here? More textured. More of a brown colour. Dark brown. Well, they eat small arthropods, worms, and other small critters. Some, like giant Chinese salamanders, eat crustaceans. So they also eat whatever gets close to the water. Nice. So these guys will probably eat anything as well. Why would you animals and people? Do you mean like why would I make animals that look like people? Christian? Is that your question? Yeah, I'm not liking this crown. Let's get rid of that for now. So of the proper size, of course. Fun fact about salamanders, their teeth are in rows, like sharks. Oh, didn't know that. That's looking cool. I want to draw animals. I want to draw people, animals. Okay. Good place to start, Christian, if I was to give you some advice, if you're looking for advice, is to do the shape first of a human. So if you can do like kind of like get used to just drawing like a basic body and figure. So we've got a head, body, and then after you can kind of start to consider the form. And then if you were to do something like, for example, a fox person, consider how their legs connect. It's like kind of stretching back. Change this one as well. And then you can start to, what I would suggest as well, to start to use references. So you could build it out to be something like a bit more like what you want it to be. And then once you've got the basic form down, you have an idea of what you want to draw, then yeah, you just make sure you're going with those references and start to build them out. I'd say good advice for anyone who wants to get into drawing as well is to start to try to understand form a bit better. So this is kind of like the flow of the body, but also, you know, basic anatomy and things like that. It's super useful. You know, I'm not the best at anatomy, but I can do it. I can get away with it to the point. I think I know it enough where people perhaps wouldn't question it too much. If I was to kind of just freestyle it like I am now. I guess it's kind of turning out to be a bit more of like a rat boy. Yeah, something like that. So start to draw a human body, then you can start to like kind of build it out. And then once you've got like a good form that you like, then you can start to use references to help you understand the basic shapes that you want to do. As in like the basic like anatomy of the animal. A lot of the time for me, I'm just doing basically human bodies on top of with a like an animal face. So I almost always use a reference for the animal's face. But you know, it depends if you want them like stylized or if you want them a bit more like realistic. Will depend on how much you need to kind of rely on references. So like that. So, you know, it's a very basic human form. And then I've kind of just added a rat face to it. And then just some humanish clothes. I think if you practice a lot like this, and again, if you're kind of using references to help you with form, especially if you're starting out, I think that's super useful. If you have a bit more experience, then you can kind of, I think, freestyle it a bit more. But, you know, I think once you get used to that kind of thing, then you can kind of yeah, make it a bit more free flow. Like with this salamander, I didn't really look at the form. It's not the best form in the world, but I think I kind of knew what I wanted. Again, that just kind of comes from experience, I think. Let's draw these hot dogs. These cookies I made, caramel and chocolate chip, biblical levels of gluttony. Oh gosh, that sounds good. For the Easter holiday, I made my friends a Basque burnt cheesecake. And in the cheesecake, you use typically like 1 kilogram of 1 kilogram of cream cheese, as well as like you use like 7 eggs and like 200 ml of double cream and 350 grams of sugar. So it's like very unhealthy, but it's so creamy. It's incredible. We were eating it like breakfast, lunch, and dinner as much as we could. It's very, very good. Oops, that touched. One thing I was thinking of this guy is he kind of needs some camouflage if he's like going around the swamp. I was thinking like kind of tucked into his belt, he's gonna have some like just basic reeds and things like that. Maybe he just swaps out every now and again. When he's like wandering around the swamp, he doesn't get eaten so much. I love Basque cheese. It's so good, right? It's so heavy, but it's so delicious. Hey Zaf, thanks for jumping in. You jumped in at the right time. Cheesecake is always a good thing to discuss. Been summoned. We're drawing a newt boy. To be honest, I should draw more female characters. I draw a lot of male characters, if I'm honest. I think it's just because I am a male, so therefore that's what I'm used to drawing. This guy has put very little effort into his disguise here. I'll draw these on top. I need to give him a few like pouches for his reeds and things like that. But how are you, Saf? Anyway, what have you been up to? Yeah, he's a little fella. I also need to decide what pre-tech thing he has. These guys all have like pre-tech items, which is why the frogs kind of worship them. They've kind of like figured out it's a good way to win the hearts of a frog. Maybe you guys can give me some ideas. What kind of thing is a cool pre-tech item you could be using? Brackenbard is a male. I can't tell if you're joking, Simon. Of course he's a male. He's got a male outfit on. Look. His big neck thing. Oh, I suppose women wore that as well. He's got trousers. Well, I suppose women wear trousers as well. Anyway. He's a male. I love cheesecake in general. I want to make a Bass cheesecake myself, but all the recipes I've seen in metric, and I ain't falling for the comedy propaganda. Metric makes sense, Joe. I'm sorry. Let me grab 1/2 cup of broccoli and 2 ounces of tomato sauce and 14 pounds of chickpeas or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. It's so difficult. I have to convert everything, and it's never the same. Yesterday I was making like a Korean. I'm making Korean tacos tomorrow, so I made like a sauce for them, and it was like an American website. So they said 1/2 cup of what was it? 1/2 cup of sugar. No, 1/2 cup of soy sauce, and then 1/2 cup of something else. So, but luckily they have something to help you change to whatchamacallit, to imperial, and both the measurements were different. It offended me. Oh, hey Alex, how's it going, mate? Good to have you here. I just had one of your videos pop up on my feed just before the stream started, Alex. Which one was it? Let me find it. I put it in my save to watch later. Where's my save to watch later? Let me grab it up here. One second. I'm going through it. I've lost it. Rotten scent. The vastness of erosion. That was it. I was just about to watch it before I jumped into the stream, so I've got it saved to watch later. But seems like you got some cool art in there. I like your PNG tuber as well. Very cool. Cool thing is, some reptiles can genetically switch their repo organs. So technically, this toon could be both or either, or, and I've been good. Yeah, I think either or. Sorry, that was my bad reading. I've been good, working a lot. Sorry, I haven't been the most present in streams and Discord recently. Like, been doing the lifey thing. No worries. You know, the Discord's always there if you want to jump in. Never feel pressured to you know, jump into these streams and stuff. I think it's a good thing to do. I appreciate you guys jumping in whenever you got the time, but if life gets in the way, that's no worries as well. That was a joke, but okay. It's difficult to read jokes on here. 40 grams of tomato sauce, 2 ounces. 4 footballs worth of meat. That's what I mean. It's like so confusing. Whereas you got like 100 grams of water is 100 milliliters of water, which is just, it absolutely makes sense. You boil something, you boil water, 100 degrees. You freeze water, 0 degrees. It's all logical. It's the best form of measurement, and everyone should accept it for what it is. Right, we're going to give this guy like a nice, safe thing to hold his bronze spear in, but decided we're not. Bronze spear, bronze what's it called? Scythe. I want a metric football field of cheesecake. Damn, that sounds good. To address the frog's speech earlier, accelerations making the frogs autistic. It's like making them like hyper aware that they are sentient, and they're like, bros, let's go on a crusade today, and they're all like, yeah, that's a great idea. And then they all cheer. They're just silly chaps who like doing things for the boys. The thing is, salamanders are amphibians, not reptiles. Yeah, that's fine. I'm making char siu next week. Chinese barbecue pork shoulder. Oh, anything pork shoulder is always good. It's one thing I always used to get when I lived in France. I would get pork shoulder from the butcher. Make pulled pork. So good. Get rid of the background now, actually. There we go. Oh, I like this guy. It's kind of, he's more detailed than I was expecting him to be. I think it's the kind of gradient. Looks kind of cool. Maybe if we do like another gradient just on top of that, where it's a bit brighter. I think we should start to give him some shadows and see how it goes. That's a nice YouTube is recommending my video. Yeah, it like popped up just as I was, like I said, just as I was jumping into this. Character is salamander. Yeah, he's like an English newt. What are they called? I was gonna do like a what are they called? This one is a smooth newt. I was going to do a great crested newt, but I couldn't find a way to put there. Oh, maybe it's a Palamate newt, actually. We've only got a few species in the UK. If it's the best form of measurement, how come I don't use it? You're too scared, Joe. You're too scared. You know you'll enjoy it. You'll know you'll measure 100 mil of something. You'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life. Well, the Americans use feet to measure everything. Yeah, you got to put your foot on the table. What if your foot's a different size? Makes no sense. Frog farming simulator. He's a wizard. And also, hey Troublestaff, thanks for joining in. Appreciate you being here. We are certainly newting very well today. Right, let's let us do something. Oh yeah, we're gonna do shadows. Okay, I'm gonna do the wood on this dude first. Let's do this because there's not actually a cat tail or whatever it's called. This is actually just carved from wood. Very well, very skillfully. So let's do that. And then we'll start to do some shadows on this bad boy. Sure, I have the absurd challenge of doing all the sounds of the video with my voice. I've tried doing that as well, Alex. It's I feel like if you put like echo and things on it, it works a bit better. Most of the time I have to delete it because it just doesn't work. Crusade? That's the best idea since the acceleration. Honestly, I wanted to do a few short stories. I was going to do a short story with this guy. And he talks to his frog companion, who's called Bartholomew. And he speaks to him like a gentleman. So every time he talks, he articulated like this. He says, Bartholomew, today is the day we will finally redeem ourselves in the eyes of our great kin across the swamplands, storming through the lands and slaying troll and vagabond. As they rise, they shall fall. And speaking essentially like that the whole time he talks. And I want the frogs and toads to only speak like that. Like I said, the newts are going to be a bit more sensible, but frogs and toads are going to be a little bit out there. I like his face. The eye shape for some reason makes me feel like this dude would be that homie at the swamp that's just a little too fried. Yeah, he does look a bit spaced out. He's like, bro, they put something in the water. I really like his eye. Thanks, Darth Malagus. Appreciate you dropping in as well. Damn, nobody has this exact same foot length. Exactly. So metaphorical foot, not your own foot. Been doing it wrong this whole time. English of English names. Well, Bartholomew is quite an English name, but the actual, let me move my sketchbook. The actual frog is called Frederick Hermigue the 42nd. That was my kind of working title for his name. Right, actually, one thing I was going to show you guys, seeing as we've got lots of people here, is I was going to show you some of my sketches that I was working on today. So we're going to do a fun addition to the channel called Ross Opens His Camera and Hopes He Doesn't Dox Himself. So let's do exactly that. Take a photo. There we go. Da, 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 da. Okay, so for one of the upcoming videos, I wanted to do Bird Fae. And I'll show you the other bird I've drawn in a minute, who's like a very cool design, I think. Let me get my light on, actually. There we go. Okay. But the other one I want to draw, which kind of exploded into like a whole thing, is this guy. So he's a pigeon fae. You can't really see him there. This is my original design for him, but I'm gonna make him a bit more squat because he's like a bit of a greedy boy. So he is a pigeon, and therefore his job is a delivery driver. So he basically delivers mail and other items across the acceleration, like down the great roads. So one thing I wanted to do with him is to make him like, he's very greedy, but he's like a very happy guy, because pigeons in general are very nice. But essentially, they get paid a lot of money to transport all of this stuff. So he spends all of his money on food. So I started making like a list of different foods I wanted to try and draw. And I've always loved, obviously like Studio Ghibli style food. So I wanted to try and draw some stuff like that. So I was drawing some typical British stuff. So we've got bread, honey, jam, marmalade, pickle. We've got red Leicester cheese, Wensleydale cheese, cheddar cheese, Stilton and broccoli soup, sausage rolls, Scotch eggs, a bunch of fruit, and in that fruit I was going to include like giant berries, which I thought would be like a good addition. Cornish pasty, of course. And he's going to have some like alcohol with him as well. He's going to have some mead, cider, and beer. But the mead, because it's made from honey, is made in a place called Lindisfarne, or Holy Isle, which is up in Northumberland, by an abbey. Essentially, it's a what do you call it? It's an island which has like where monks used to live. It's actually where the Vikings first invaded back in the day. So this island actually is a big bee colony now that makes honey, and they make mead, and they sell it to the rest of the Abbey now. So this is Lindisfarne Abbey honey. So one other thing I wanted to include in it is some more pre-tech. So this is a Jen Smith insulator box. So Jen Smith is the person I mentioned in the Marvel video. So the insulator box works like a, like a cool box that you'd have for beer. The box is cool because it doesn't just keep your stuff cool, it also keeps your stuff hot. But if you put something hot and cold in the box, the cold thing stays cold and the hot thing stays hot. You could cook a chicken and chuck it in there, and then get some ice cream and chuck it in there, and then close the box and then press the button on top or turn it. I'm not sure how would I activate it, and then everything in there stays the same temperature. I want to put like some limits on it, so like you couldn't put something living in there, like it would just suffocate, and you can't keep it in there for too long. But I need to figure out why. But yeah, so this is the idea. This is his big like picnic spread, which is like next to him. So you've got like bread, grapes, bottle, sandwich, some pickle, cheese, insect pate, sorry, bad pronunciation, some nuts and seeds, and then some like fruit here as well. So this is him on his this is him sat on the coach. He's got his like reins here he's holding down. He's drinking his mead from a cup, and he's got his like picnic spread next to him. He's got like a cheese knife he can spread it with. So I thought it'd be like a fun one to draw. This is his carriage. So this is like a basic idea. and he's reading a book about foreign foods. He's a very greedy pigeon, but all pigeons are. I'll just turn the camera off for a second, and then I'm going to just open up my sketchbook. Ooh, a little spin there. And I'll show you the other thing I was designing. Okay, make sure I don't dox myself here. Any more private information about myself I need to black out? Okay, no, that's fine. Okay. So let me open my camera again. Little spin. Well, so Darth Malgus, it's funny you should say a crane. So this is one of the creatures I'm going to draw. I'm really happy with this design. So this is a heron. And he is essentially a frog catcher. So they kind of act a bit like, you know, like Native Americans, or like even like Americans during like during the Revolutionary War, where they were like kind of hit and run tactics, or like Viet Cong style thing. So he has a what's it called? A thingy hook. What are they called? Anyone help me out here? Fuck yeah. It's called a bill hook. He's got a bill hook. So like essentially, like the frogs would be marching along the land in the swamp, and these dudes would be waiting in the reeds. So these would be on really long sticks, and they'd reach out and just grab frogs and drag them into the reeds. And then when they get them into the reeds, as you can see, stab, stab, stab. That's what he's doing to a frog there. So he's got some other tools to help him. Let's have a look. He's got, I think he's got a man catcher. He's got those like barbed rings that they wrap around like a frog's head. They have a lot of stabbing daggers, so they can just quickly finish them. This one's got an axe and a kind of can opener in case any of them are wearing armor. But he's got like a long knife with a frog's head on it. It's like a hilt. He's got like frog arms attached to his arm. For good luck. They also use bows. I was thinking because these guys are like kind of like bands of essentially like hit and run tactic groups. They're not like a collective anymore because the frogs have kind of run them out of town. So they don't really have the tools to repair weapons. They have some weapons like this because like bill hooks and halberds and stuff are quite notoriously easy for making. They're just kind of farm tools that you just kind of hammer into the correct shape. So all of these things are like made from reeds, and the long knives are just sharpened metal. So all of these things I was thinking are like quite easy to make without like proper smithing gear. So they wouldn't have any guns, so they still use bows. So I was thinking, you know, if they were to ambush frogs, they would just fire a bunch of these through the reeds at the frogs. They would like drag a bunch of them in. They'd have like some hooks, ropes they could grab stuff, grab frogs with. Grab some of them with these like man catchers, or I guess frog catchers, and essentially just mess them up. So I was like just like conceptualizing some ideas, and I thought like the fancy frog like style, that 17th century outfit doesn't really work. So I was going to do more like pirate outfits, which I thought was quite cool. So one thing to kind of counter them is this frogs that I was kind of drawing in. It's one of the other drawings I'll show you guys in a sec. But he's got like a blunderbuss. So these guys, you know, when they're collecting insects, they can collect insects pretty quickly with these big nets, and they carry them home in buckets. But when they go out there, a bunch of them carry shotlocks or shot rifles, which are eventually just blunderbusses. So if they sense anything or they see anything in the reeds, they just fire a couple of rounds of this into the reeds. So they don't have to aim; they can just shoot. Anything else here? Oh yeah, this is Bartholomew. This was the original. I'm really happy with this sketch, actually. This was the original sketch for Frederick and Bartholomew. This was the original sketch for the newt we're drawing right now. Anything else? And I was like kind of trying to conceptualize some different ideas for the newts, and I kind of fell on that one, which is the one we have now. Yeah, so that was like how my conceptualization works. Yeah, cool. So I'll go through the chat now so I can read what everyone said. The Newt's got to talk in the most wild Aussie accent. High on the money gun. Oh yeah. Frederick kind of fits the guy pretty well. Good. I was trying to think of like a posh name for like a mercenary, so that kind of works very well. Make a bird fail with a long ass neck. Yeah. So that was the idea. I really wanted to do the heron, because the herons and the fisher cult are supposed to be kind of scary. So they, like I said, they do hit and run tactics. They just drag things into the reeds and just very quickly kill them. They prefer to capture things alive because they like to sacrifice it to the skull of their fallen dragon, and then eat them. But yeah, they'll just kill frogs if they can, if they have the chance. What's the insulator box for? There you go. Yeah, that, yeah. Does it need fuel? So a lot of the pre-text stuff doesn't need fuel. That's why it is so good. It just works. It just forever works. Some of it's broken and they don't really know how to repair it. Only like some people do. So for certain items, they're kind of just, if it breaks, it breaks. This pigeon guy is going to have essentially spent a lot of his money that he makes from his job on this insulator box. It's like a really expensive piece of like pre-tech gear. But he like travels down the road and he loves food, so it was like a good investment for him. To be chilling until suddenly it turns into a scene from The Hills of Ice. Exactly. I was thinking the scene from the start of The Revenant. Do you know where like all the fur trappers are getting the furs on the boat, and then they get attacked by like the Native Americans? I love that scene. That's super cool. Thanks, mate. Crow, thanks for joining us. Good to have you here. Hello, my friends. How you all doing? It's a fine day. Very, very good. Thank you. Very good indeed. Bronze. Sickle. Some light on this bad boy. Zone here. I would constantly be carrying a whole piping hot rotisserie chicken with me. Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. I mean, so what I would say, I need to figure out a way to limit it, because I feel like that's just crazy, right? Like, you could just carry lava in that thing and just throw it in someone's face. So one thing I want to do with all the pre-tech stuff, because when I eventually want to make this into like a TTRPG, I want pre-tech to have like a kind of trade-off. So I need to think of a trade-off for the... Actually, maybe you guys can help me. What would be a good trade-off for the insulator box? Like, it can't be the best thing in the world, right? It needs to have some kind of limitation. So what would be a good way to limit it? Any ideas are welcome. I want it to seem like very powerful. Like he's paid a pretty buck for it, so it needs to be like a good piece of gear. And it's not like he's been scammed. I want it to be like an actual piece of gear that he's got. It's supposed to be like a little happy story with this pigeon and his like food. But what would be a good way to limit it, do you think? What material are his tools made of? So this newt has a bronze sickle, but only as a kind of a reference to Celtic druids, because they would carry these bronze sickles as well. So it's kind of his like way of collecting stuff. Collecting reeds and things like that. In fact, that's one thing I could make him carry. A bunch of reeds. It would be good actually to see if he... That's what I was trying to think as well, like his pre-tech item. Maybe like a pre-tech ring would be like a good thing. Or a pre-tech bracelet maybe. Let's give him a pre-tech bracelet. I think that's like a cool item. I'll just use this one. We can do on this one. Do we do like a couple of bracelets here as well? Sorry, I keep getting lost in the writing. Does pre-tech work via magic or lost to advanced civilization? So pre-tech is essentially exactly that. It's like stuff left over from the apocalypse. Essentially, there was this previous race called the Byzantine Empire, which I've kind of based off of the Romans, and they left. They basically just destroyed themselves. They all fought each other, and they ended up with just destroying the world. So this is like it's an undisclosed amount of time later. People don't know how long ago the acceleration happened. But as a result, you got all of these animals who essentially evolved to become like humanoid. So they left behind a lot of their technology, and a lot of it has been kind of captured and broken down or used for certain things. But there's still a lot of it present in essentially the Great Forest, which is this massive area of forest that's full of monsters and horrible things and giant animals essentially. So those who use pre-tech are very powerful because it's such a massive tool and such an incredible way. It's such an incredible force. So if you have access to pre-tech, then you're just essentially you have a big advantage above everyone else. So like these dudes, they kind of know how to use pre-tech, and they kind of know what it is to an extent. I guess they kind of maybe they share their knowledge amongst each other, but with no one else. So they that's why they're kind of revered by the frogs and the toads. So anyway, the pre-tech is made from a material called marble, and marble is essentially a just the material that this ancient race used to use, and it was like really flexible and had good heat resistance, and it could be used underwater, that kind of stuff. I did a video on this if you want to check it out, but a lot of the items that we use with pre-tech have like things that people don't know what they do. So it's one of these things I want to do as like a bit of a mystery for the TTRPG as well. It's like when you discover pre-tech items, maybe like roll on a chart to like kind of discover what it does when you like pay someone to divine it, to like figure out what it is. But yeah, at the start you just will have no idea, and it could be potentially dangerous. It could be like a little bomb. I see you later, Sidon. Thanks for dropping by, mate. What I'm saying is, kind of cool idea for warmer temper frogs. They keep a heated oil water in the box to kind of splash and attack. Well, because I want to do a lot of just like British Isles animals for the time being, they'll just be like kind of cold water animals. A bit boring, but you know, I want to kind of have a visual language with this project. And I thought like a good way of doing it would just be to keep everything stuck to the same kind of vibe. I'm going to just kind of copy this dude's knife. Do these more detailed. They need to be so messy. Like I said, I want to embrace the messy, but I want the details as well. Oops. Needs to have a leather case as well. Maybe do like a bronze, bronze like head to the case as well. Non-metallic metal. Miraculix core. What's that? Miraculix core. Miraculix core. What's Miraculix core? Pre-tech horn. That's a great idea. Good job, Saf. Yeah. That would be perfect because the druids use horns. So I'm a bit right. I'm going to catch up on chat here because I'm a bit behind. Pre-tech horn is a great idea. I'll do that instead of that. Claude, hello. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping in, mate. My personal favourites goes over this stuff. Nice. I want to play Kenshi. I played Kenshi ages ago. Is that the same kind of vibe? It's like post-apocalyptic and it's like wasteland, right? bit more like Japanese themed. That was a cool idea. I have to catch up. I've only watched about half the videos so far. Oh, I appreciate you going through them. Is Kenshi good? It's like a very difficult game. I think if you like games like Oblivion and other stuff like that, I feel like someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like you wouldn't like Kenshi. If I'm honest, I didn't like Kenshi at all. I think it was like, it's not what I expected it to be. It's like very unforgiving. There's a lot to it. It's got like such a dedicated player base. But yeah, it was definitely not what I expected. I do have a plan here. Sorry, I always get distracted by this, yeah. Would be kind of cool to see the practice a lot of Asian culture use, where they repair broken vases and stuff with gold done in acceleration, but maybe with like marble instead of gold. That's a cool idea. I've heard that before, like if you like drop a bowl or something, they put like gold in the seams. It's pretty much to show beauties in flawed things. Nice. I think that's a cool idea. Yeah, so they can kind of like you still repair stuff, but use like I said, marble or something instead. Oh, I love shading stuff. This looks much better. Oh my gosh, I'm so easily distracted. I've been baking for 4 hours, but the last batch of cookies are almost done. Oh gosh, you're gonna be full of cookies, Joe. Is marble hard to get material in the acceleration? Sorry, I didn't answer your question, Darth. Is how sturdy are pre-tech items? So pre-tech, one big thing with marble is the big thing that makes it kind of different is that you can change the density of it. So pre-tech items can be very sturdy, potentially, but they just need to be quite dense to kind of justify the sturdiness. So, for example, people don't really use it for weapons, unless it's like guns. For like swords and like maces and things like that, it doesn't really work unless you're like very, very strong and you can afford to pump like a lot of marble into it. So yeah, it's like some marble items can be very strong. You know, you could have like a coin that weighs 1,000 kilograms. So yeah, obviously that would be pretty strong. But you could also have one that weighs like a milligram, which you could probably bend. So this is where the drug in the acceleration comes from. The main drug, which is MAM. Which is what people chew. They like chew essentially like really low density marble. This guy's looking cool. I'm enjoying this. If you, what was I saying? So yeah, so marble can be very sturdy. It just depends like how well it's made as well. Is marble hard to get material in the acceleration? Great question. So. Yes and no. So imagine when the acceleration happened and society started to like gather itself again, there was marble everywhere because it was like the main material used by the nations before they like kind of blew themselves up. So when society started to come together, the really rich people were essentially the people who realized what marble was, and they started to collect it and hoard it and use it. So you know, tens, hundreds, thousands of years later, however long the acceleration is since the past, there's not a lot left. You know, there's not like a, oh, why did I do that brown? Okay, change that to blue. Quite like it brown, actually. That's great. We'll do brown. So years later, there's not much left. There's not much accessible marble left. If you want to find marble, these people are called like marble hunters or marble miners. You have to either go into the Great Forest, or to go into the ocean, or to go to dig for it. So it's very expensive and very dangerous, because in the Great Forest there's all these monsters and stuff. So yeah, so it's like something that you can get if you're rich enough and you can hire enough people to do it, essentially. Hey Blank, thanks for jumping in. I personally love it, but I usually hesitate to outright recommend it because I feel like it has a very niche audience that actually enjoy the kind of game. But I would definitely say it's worth checking out. Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos on Kenshi, and it seems like a cool game. But that's the kind of game I like watching other people play, to be honest. Yeah, I can't really get into it myself, but. Smaller. I'll figure that after. Miraculix is a character from a comic about a small tribe resisting the Romans. Ah, okay, Miraculix is Asterix and Obelix, right? We're not into BDs as much as France, but we do like, I think that a lot of people still remember Asterix. Asterix and Obelix. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the old dude who makes the soup, right? You like Kenshi if you think games like Oblivion and Morrowind don't go far enough in the RPG element. That's a great way to describe it. Yeah, if you want like a more in-depth game, then I think Kenshi might be better. But yeah, it's very hard. I think that's probably the biggest thing about it. It's not an easy game. I don't know if that's good or bad. But... Ooh. Didn't expect that. That was cool. Right, what else can we do? Let's do the same thing with this one. Nice! Oh, instant texture. I love a bit of instant texture. We can do the same with this. So there we go. A bit muddier. A bit too messy. So I think it needs to be above this one. cloth to be too shiny. That's fine. Okay, won't mess with that. From what I've seen so far, I really adore the vibes of your world. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. I've been thinking about it today because I was thinking like I want to stick to like a similar idea throughout my project. I don't want to like change too much. And I was thinking about mounts. I think someone asked me this question a while ago. It was like if there's giant dogs, do people ride giant dogs? If there's giant eagles, do people ride giant eagles? And to be boring and to be honest, I'm just going to say absolutely no. And I think the main thing is just because it changes the vibe of the planet. One thing is with like the frogs, is I originally designed them so that they rode giant like crayfish, and I'm going to retcon that and just say that's not true. Horses exist, donkeys exist, but people don't ride anything else. Maybe cows or like cattle and things like that. Things that people could get away with riding in, you know, in kind of our world. But other than that, I think it doesn't kind of like defeats the point of the world, right? If it's too fantastical, it needs to have limitations. And although there's like animals who walk and they can speak and that kind of stuff, okay, that's a big deal. But there needs to be more limitations than that, I think. So yeah, just a little brain fart there for you to listen to. Been painting, my friend. Like, what have you been painting? Are you painting your? Yeah, what have you been painting? Could still repair and even could be used as a merchant barter guild since it has the marble in it, and the marble is used as currency, right? Broken might in the old world repaired with marble. Yeah, exactly. So people would like collect marble items, and even if they don't know what they would do, they generally just melt them down and just sell them. Or like back in the day, people would just sell the weight of the marble and then like trade it for something. So like they're better at kind of breaking this stuff down nowadays, but it's still a difficult. It's not an easy process, and it takes a long time. And also transporting it, especially if it's like a really heavy item, is problematic. It's basically if Morrowind, Dark Souls, and The Sims had a baby together. Chitinous objects. What kind of chitinous objects? I'll be back. Alright, Joe. No pressure, mate. I think we might go on for another 10 minutes or so, and then I might jump off, but yeah. Yeah, I agree, Saf. The isometric kind of view is a bit off-putting, I think. I agree. I think it's a good idea to keep the more fantastical animals off limits as mounts. Yeah, it just kind of turns it into like World of Warcraft or something, doesn't it? So, not super keen on that. I'm liking the look of this guy. I wanted to add a few more things in. I really like the idea of a horn, but it's going to change the silhouette quite a lot, and I don't really know where to put the horn. You know what I might do actually is I'm just gonna, before I finish up, I'm gonna draw his sickle and his blade. Because one thing I liked, I had a few comments on about the previous video, is a few people told me they liked the like kind of the poetry book and the other items which were kind of off to the side that you could see in the previous video. So I'm going to do the same here. quick question: what are the size comparisons like? Are the Fae the same size as normal humans, or the animal size just bipedal? Have the horn hang on the base of his staff, like a hanging accessory. Have the horn hang on the base of his staff. Okay, that's not a bad idea. Have it maybe. I see what you mean. I'd like to do it as kind of like a. I like the idea of having little things hanging from his. I don't know, because he wouldn't want to be making a lot of noise, so he doesn't want anything really clattery. We'll come back to that idea if we've got time. Okay, what we might do is just use a quick symmetry tool to draw our knife. What kind of blade is this? It's got like a. That's right. Okay. Stretches out like that. Okay, cool. And then we'll do the. We need to kind of copy the color here as well. Okay. Oops. Drawing assist on this one. The whole thing is bronze. Oh, sorry, I completely skipped over your question. How big are they? So, yeah, like Fallen says, they're quite big. The majority of them are about human size, so like 5 foot something. You get some bigger ones. You know, some grow to be much taller. Some grow to be giants. Like so you get some human giants, but most of them, yeah, they stay about human size. So you have like a lot of these, especially like mammals and like bigger animals, grow bigger essentially. Oops. But yeah, so the like the frogs, I was going to do like a little bit shorter. So essentially they are like around 4 foot or just over 5 foot. So they're pretty big, but still like a little shorter than other animals. More for comedic value than anything else. do better than this. There you go. That looks a little bit better. Right, let's do this one. Oops, still dying. There we go. Nice. Okay. Little items there. I do his little bangles as well. And we'll see how that goes. I feel it almost kind of wrapped or bound into the staff, kind of like Gandalf's pipe in a functional part of the staff. Like they blow into a small bit of the staff and the vibrations resonate in the cat's tails. That's a cool idea to warn let others know. Yeah, because they could use it as like a way to contact. I kind of imagine them just appearing out of the reeds. Like they're always nearby. Like they kind of. They're never late, they're never on time, they arrive precisely when they mean to, type of thing. But yeah. That kind of breaks the pre-tech bit of the horn also, doesn't it? Well, we'll figure it out. I would like to add some more pre-tech. He's got his little marble bangles, but I'd like to give him some pre-tech. Because again, that's like a whole thing with these dudes. But, I mean, he's looking pretty cool so far. We've already got 2 designed for the next video. We need to do 1 more, which will be like the bug catcher. Let's have a look. So we've got our little newt and our mercenary. I need to do his items. I'm going to show his swords. I also need to show Bartholomew as well. Very important. Hedgehog Fae, Rat Fae, Rabbit Fae. I've done loads of Rabbit Fae. I don't think I've done a Rat Fae. Hedgehog Fae is like a difficult one to draw, but I think that'd be like a cool one. Starling. I had a starling on my roof making robot noises earlier. They're very cool. Woodpecker as well I'd like to do. I've got a greater spotted woodpecker that lives in the wood down the bottom of like a park near me. And it is... I heard it the first time on my bird app, but then I saw it the second time I was there. So it was very cool to see. Cool. Right. I think that might do us. Oops. That might do us for today. Like I said, I'm going to try and get this other one done. The next podcast episode as well will be out at the end of the month. I've got 2 more recorded for now, and I'm speaking to someone else about recording an episode. That's a long way off. I'm going to contact someone else. I might actually contact them tonight before I go to bed to see if they want to get involved. But I think I've said the next person I'm recording with is Nubmark, which would be cool. And then after that, well, I'll let that be a surprise for next month. But this month we've got Nubmark on, and his episode's really good. It's very interesting, and you know, he's a very like artistic guy, and he's very involved with his art. He does like a variety of different things, so I think you guys will enjoy his stuff for sure. Yeah. Woodpeckers could be a really scary kind of executioner. That beak could be quite deadly to face. Yeah, absolutely. any of those. That's what I kind of wanted with the fisher colts, is those beaks to be like a bit of a weapon as well. Yeah. Okay, right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Darth Malgus. I don't know if you're in the Discord yet, but you know, if you want to jump in, it kind of notifies you when we're back in the stream. But yeah, I think it would be, if you're interested, it's a good place for people to hang out. Appreciate all you guys being here, keeping me company, drawing this little dude. I thought oops, I thought what you call it, the reference video thing in the top right corner was a bit of a cool addition. I usually have my slideshow there, so I might have to like move the slideshow or something. Alba's kind of got it in a bit of a better position on hers, so I might have to like reposition all of this stuff. And you know, the chat is kind of squashed anyway, so I might be able to move that up a little bit. But I appreciate you guys all being here, and I'll see you guys in the Discord, or I'll see you next week. I just remembered I need to add old issue to the drawing I made. I know I was forgetting something. Right, well, thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Thanks, Fallen. Thanks, Blank. Thanks, Saf. Thanks, Darth Malagus. Thank you, Joe. I know you're away. Thanks, Crow. Who else did we have in? We had Claude in for a little bit as well. Siden, thanks for being here, buddy. Trivial Starve as well. We had another person. Alex, good to have you here. I'll go watch your video in a second. Anyone else that we missed? Christian Hayes as well. Lawrat. I think that was it. And Throndix, of course, yeah. Thank you guys for all being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night, everybody. See you guys next time.